today we're reading The Forgiving Prince. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all his sons, Joseph was his favorite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich with all the colors of the rainbow, but it made Joseph's brothers jealous. They wanted rich rainbow robes too. Then, make matters worse, Joseph kept on having these special dreams. I dreamed I was the greatest. I was king, Joseph told his brothers, and you all bowed down to me. Now I'm sure, even if you know it, if Joseph didn't that, telling your brothers things like that isn't very good idea. Joseph's brothers hated him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and his dreams. And one day, that's exactly what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's rainbow robe off of him and sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver.
Show the picture. So Joseph's dad gave him a coat, and his brothers, so if Daddy gave Jude a really cool jacket, Titus, and Daddy said Jude was his favorite, would that make you sad? Yeah. So that's not true. Daddy loves both of you. So what about if Jude had a dream, or what about if Titus had a dream that one day Titus was going to be the greatest person in the world? Would you be a little sad about that? And that you, Jude, were going to bow down to Titus? What would you think about that? No. You'd be probably a little jealous, right? So that's what happened. These brothers were jealous of Joseph. And so they sold him to be a slave. Do you know what a slave is? A slave means during this time, they would work for someone else for no money. They would not be given any money. They would have to work, and they would have to, they would be beaten, and they were called slaves. All right, you want to keep reading, or do you want me to read?
I'll keep reading.
Okay, read loud.
The traders took Joseph to Egypt and made him into a slave. The brothers went home and lied to their father, telling him that Joseph was dead. That's the end of that dreamer, they thought. But they were wrong. God had made a magnificent dream for Joseph's life. And even when God looked like everything had gone wrong, God would use it all to help him make the dream come true. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though things were not looking good for Joseph in Egypt, he was far from home and his dad. Then he got blamed for something that he didn't do, and even though he had done nothing wrong, he was punished and thrown in jail. But God had not left Joseph.
So what did you read? It said what the brothers were trying to do, God had a plan. Is that what it said? God had a plan. Even though it seemed like everything was going wrong for Joseph, God had a plan. Did you know God has a plan today too? Even when things go wrong, there's a plan. All right, you want to keep going?
Here's the picture.
Oh yeah. So Joseph got thrown into jail for something he didn't do.
Pharaoh had a scary dream about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What on earth does that mean? He didn't know, but Joseph was a dream expert, so Pharaoh sent for him. It means a famine is coming.
A famine. Do you know what a famine is?
No, I don't.
A famine is when there's no food. So it'd be like if we went to the grocery store and there was no food.
Joseph explained, there won't be enough food. Pharaoh was so pleased by Joseph's skill that he immediately took Joseph out of jail and made him a prince. Now go back home. Joseph's brothers had run out of food and everyone was hungry. God's special family was in danger. If they didn't get food, soon they would starve to death. So Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy food. They came and knelt before the new prince. His brothers didn't know that the prince was Joseph. But Joseph knew who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing down to him, was coming true. It's me, Joseph cried. When they all saw it was Joseph, his brothers were afraid. They had wronged Joseph. They had sinned, and they knew it. Now Joseph would certainly punish them.
So why do you think Joseph's brothers were scared to see him?
Because they threw him in the well.
Yeah, and they were trying to get him rid of him.
But Joseph looked at his brother's eyes and filled with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him and hated him and wanted him dead, in spite of everything, he couldn't stop loving him.
So here's the picture. Jude forgot to show it to you. Of the Pharaoh having dreams and Joseph becoming a prince. And these are his brothers bowing down to him because he's nervous, or they're scared, they're nervous because they had wronged him. So his heart, which had been broken, so Joseph's, his heart, which had been broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph forgave his brothers. Joseph threw his arms around them. Don't be afraid, he said. Behind what you were doing, underneath everything that was happening, God was doing something good. God was making everything right again. Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them.
He punished them.
They
didn't rescue him.
You're going to come sit with me? So, Titus, Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them. He brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. One day, God would send another prince, a young prince whose heart would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and want him dead. He would be sold for pieces of silver, and he would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. Do you think you know who that prince is?
Joseph.
Well, that's who this story is about, but that second part that I was telling you, another prince would come. Who is that going to be? Who do you think? Who would leave his father and his brothers would hate him and want him dead?
That's the same thing.
I know, it's a lot of the similar things. It's Jesus. Jesus left his Father in heaven to come down here, and his brothers, who he lived with and grew up with, they hated him. And then he was sold for pieces of silver. That's what Judas did. He sold Jesus for pieces of silver. So, but God would use everything that happened to this young prince, talking about Joseph and Jesus, even the bad things, to do something special, to forgive the sins of the whole world. No.
Here, clap you can do. Make it. You don't have one of these, like a sack. You can use a paper, and you can draw on your sack, and then put it on to talk like hello. And I make a joke.
Or paper.
Puppet.
And here's this. I did it quickly. And this is Grace's. So it doesn't have to be, if you don't have a puppet, then you can make it just out of a piece of paper. We are going to sing a song that goes to the tune of London Bridge.
Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a little lamb. All right, you ready? Set. Joseph's father had 12 sons, had 12 sons, had 12 sons. Joseph's father had 12 sons. Oh, what a family. All right, now go cross your arms like this. Joseph's father loved him best, loved him best, loved him best. Joseph's father loved him best. Oh, what a family. And now go like this because his brothers were so jealous. Joseph's brothers were so jealous, were so jealous, were so jealous. Joseph's brothers were so jealous. Oh, what a family. Okay, now his brothers throw him in a pit. So his brothers throw him in a pit, in a pit, in a pit. Can you sing? Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit. Oh, what a family. Now, Egypt bought him as a slave. So when you're doing your slave, you're working. So we're going to act like we're working like this. You're going to be digging something. You ready? So it goes. Egypt bought him as a slave, as a slave, as a slave. Egypt bought him as a slave. Oh, what a family. All right, next part is God caused a famine in the land. So you're so hungry. So act like you're so hungry. God caused a famine in the land, famine in the land, famine in the land. God caused a famine in the land. Oh, what a family. Okay, but guess what happened, Jude? What happened? Joseph was a mighty man when that famine happened. So we can do strong arms. But by then Joseph was a mighty man, was a mighty man, was a mighty man. But by then Joseph was a mighty man. No! Oh, what a family. All right, so now act like you're the brothers begging for food. Can you beg for food? His brothers came to him for food, him for food, him for food. His brothers came to him for food. Oh, what a family. And now act like you're giving them food. Joseph forgave and fed them all, fed them all, fed them all. Joseph forgave them and fed them all. Oh, what a family. And now wave your arms in the air because God has done something so great. God had done something great, something great, something great. God had done something great. Oh, what a God. Do that last one again. You ready? God had done something great, something great, something great. God had done something great. Oh,